Hi, my name is Loretta, or Trinity6, and this is my channel, The Limitless Infinite, a space for you to align your mind to higher vibrations and higher frequencies. So this video I'm making today is about the movie Soul, and a lot of people are probably making videos, but I just wanted to kind of point out something that I saw in the video or in the movie, and I thought it would be really relevant today. I've made a previous video which I believe is titled Living with Purpose versus For a Purpose. And these are two different kind of states of mind, or states, or almost like states of being that you can be in as you travel through your life journey. But I found it really interesting, the movie Soul. I really loved it because I think a lot of people right now are having sort of a struggle or a challenge with life purpose, because if you don't know, or you feel like you're not connecting to what your life purpose is, it can put people in a place of feeling really lost, which is really can sometimes be like this low vibration, low frequency that you just don't really want to resonate with. And I thought it was really cool that the movie was really pointing out that you can have a spark, something that makes you really feel alive, but it's not necessarily your purpose. And you can engage with that spark and that thing that makes you want to be here. Like I think they were saying, it's your reason for living, because that's what really makes your soul sing or speak, or like I think whatever they were saying, like when you're in the zone, you know, that you can really be in that groove when you're connecting with your spark. But your spark might not necessarily be your life purpose. And I thought that was really great, because I think it's sometimes easier to know what your sparks are because it's something that you do that really puts you in a state of bliss, joy. It's like time doesn't exist. You could just do it all the time and you love it. But it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be your purpose. And I think I remember when I was a kid, I loved cooking. And one of my bosses said something to me that I thought was really important. And he was like, if you really, really love it, don't do it as a job. And which is funny, because I almost feel like cooking food could be like a spark for me. Like it's something I really love. When I'm in the zone with it, I just don't want to be doing anything else. I just want to be doing that. But sometimes when that becomes a job, it has a whole different perspective, and it becomes, because a job has this feeling of necessity, that you're doing it to make money, to be able to live. Sometimes it can take the joy out of it, and all of a sudden you want to be sparking when you want to spark. You know what I'm saying? Like when your spark is on and you want to light the fire, you want to do it. You know what I mean? But sometimes when we try to take our sparks and make them our purposes or make them our jobs, we're asking that spark to just like be lighting this fire every day, all the time. And it can take the joy out of it. It can take that state of bliss out of it. And then when we become dependent on having to do it when someone else is telling us, or when it's being, put on us as this responsibility, sometimes the feeling and vibration of it changes. And so I thought the movie was really good at least explaining that when you have these sparks, it doesn't have to be connected to your life purpose. And I almost think sometimes it's really amazing if you have a spark that really becomes your life purpose. That's incredible. But for a lot of people that are still searching for their life purpose, that you might actually have something else that's a spark. But really importantly, what I wanted to point out from my video was that living with a purpose versus for a purpose are two very different things. And an easy way to not get caught up in, if you're someone that doesn't really know what your sparks are, or if you're someone that really doesn't know what your life purpose is, that you can find so much value in understanding that you can live with purpose, not for a purpose. And when you live with purpose, sometimes, it might even be easier for you to find what your life's purpose is, or what your spark really is. When you live with purpose, I think she was saying, when they were at the end of the movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but he was talking about her finding her spark, and she was saying like, oh, like eating pizza, like or walking, I'm really good at walking. And she was thinking like all of those could be her spark, because she got so much joy out of that experience. And what I wanted to say was, there's something in there that actually she was really getting that everybody else was kind of missing, which is that in that moment, she was living with purpose. She was living with purpose and not for a purpose, because she had no idea what that was yet. And she just wanted, was every experience, she was being super present. And it's easier when you're a kid to be super present, because when you experience things for the first time, you're kind of taking everything in. And I think it's important to know that when you're a kid too, like when you're a child, you actually tend to be thinking less. You're really just doing. And when you're really just doing, you're really just in a state of being. And when you're in a state of being, you're really living with purpose, because you're not valuing anything in your experience more or less than anything else, which I thought was important, because she was saying like, oh, like walking, like that could be her thing, that could be her purpose, or that could be her spark. And that was because she didn't have any value. We set values to what we think is higher or lower than other things as we age, and as we get taught different things, and as we get programmed that information and knowing and being able to, the capabilities of doing certain things have different values within society. But really at the core, nothing is more or less important than anything else. So she was really able to put this equal value in everything that she was experiencing, which is really that state of living with purpose, which is when you live with purpose, it's not that you necessarily have to be in a state of thinking everything you do has purpose. It's really just valuing that present moment. And when we value that present moment, it's really in that state of not thinking. So like imagine when you were a kid and you weren't really thinking, you didn't have a job, or like when you're really young and you don't even have school yet, and you don't have things that you want to achieve because of your friends or because of your parents. You're just kind of saturated and soaking everything up. And this state is, I think for me, I made a previous video maybe like a year ago or something like that. And it was really important for me because I was, you know, going through this point of time and people were really talking about finding your purpose and finding your purpose. And, you know, I was just like, you know, I really want to like live with purpose. I don't want my whole life, because I think in the 3D world, we get very programmed that our whole life starts to get wrapped around our careers and our job is our purpose in the third dimension. And then when we are in a different state of awareness and we start thinking about our life purpose, our life purpose here, all of a sudden that, to me, I went through this state where I felt like that was just like another job. Like it was a second job that I had to fulfill. And that, to me, that was almost like had a form of stress that came with it, or anxiety that I think some people can feel, because then you're like, okay, now I'm here to fulfill that. So in the third world, you were here to fulfill your job, and now you're in this other state of awareness, and now you're fulfilling this purpose. And I was like, man, I don't want everything in my life that I'm choosing to do and choosing to experience to really be driven by this one thing. You know, I want to know that if I want to take a day off to just do something completely unrelated to fulfilling my life purpose, that can be valued, that has a value to me, that part of that experience is just as important as me fulfilling my purpose. And so what came about from that is really like living with purpose and finding the value in everything that you do. And I think I've heard that saying before, that was like, you know, there was a guy just like shoveling or like building a fence, and then he became enlightened, and like he just, like after that, he just went right back to building the fence, which is like kind of funny. That's probably a really bad version of that story. But basically that story is really about how, you know, that maybe nothing even changes, that you could be very enlightened or become enlightened, but nothing in your life would change, that you would actually could find just as much meaning and just as much value just being the same person that you've always been and doing the same thing that you've always done, that you don't have to be radically different as you go through these different processes and these different levels of thinking. But anyway, I thought that was really important to share in the movie, because, you know, the movie has a really good message about, you know, that you have a life purpose and a reason for being here, for people. That purpose is important. I think for your soul to, you know, your soul wants to fulfill this purpose. And then to really understand that when you feel not connected to that, or unaware of that, or not sure of what that is, that, you know, use your sparks as a way of being really present here and being alive and really living your life until you really find that purpose. But if either of those are eluding you, or one or the other is, to just remember that living with purpose and finding that there's value in everything that you do, the way that she did when she was just having all those experiences, couldn't tell the difference between walking being a purpose and eating pizza being a purpose, or what was really her life purpose, what was really her spark. And in a way, to her in that moment, it almost didn't matter. Everything was something. And I thought that that was really important, and it kind of tied in with, you know, this video that I'd done in the past, which is really like that, you know, that you have the ability to value all different things, or that some might say that there's like, you know, no value to any, no, that's not right, but that you value things, everything in your life that is part of your experience leads to the fulfillment of the experience itself. And so that is important to remember. And I just wanted to make this video because I feel like so much information is going around about this movie. But I thought it was really funny that in the movie she almost pointed out that she in that state was living with purpose, not for a purpose, because she didn't know what it was yet. And she wasn't even living for her spark because she didn't even really know what that was either. But there's a state of being where we can be in that type of energy. And that type of energy can make you feel really fulfilled. You know, she felt really fulfilled just doing like these really simple things that we experience all the time. And so there's a way of having that kind of feeling while you're figuring out your spark or your life purpose. And I just thought that that was really important. So anyway, I hope you like this video. Hopefully for you, you are finding your life's purpose. Is that what you want to do? And if you haven't figured it out, knowing what your spark is so that you can use that spark to light that fire every now and again. But to always remember that your life, you know, just being here is a purpose and fulfills a purpose, and you can live with purpose, you know, and still have a very beautiful life. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye.